deflection. Deflection. Under this topic, we'll be discussing about waves, which means definition of the waves. The second, we'll be discussing about the segments, and we'll be discussing about the interval, and we will be discussing about the wave segment, interval, and other things that we should discuss under this topic about the wave segment and interval. This is the one thing to get better idea about the concept of the nomenclature of ECG. First of all, I should draw a single cardiac cycle. This is P, this is PR segment, this is Q, this is R, this is S, this is T, and this is wave. So right now I start from the waves, and in addition to get to more idea about these wave segment interval, it is very important to should have got a lead. Which lead? Lead 2. Lead. So, in addition these two things, to get better idea about these concepts, it is very important to draw a simple diagram of the heart. This is the SA node, this is the AB node, this is the Hayes bundle, this is the Hayes bundle, and this is left bundle branch. Left bundle branch divides into anterior fascicle and posterior fascicle, and finally to Purkinje fibers. This is the right atrium, this is the left atrium, this is the right ventricle, this is the right one. Two issues that we should not be confused about the right side and left side of some organs. First of all, it is very important to stand here. Right now I'm standing in front of you. What is this? It is hand. What hand it is? Left hand. This side is left hand. What is this? Right hand. This is the right side. So this is the right atrium and right ventricle. This is the left atrium and left ventricle. So sometimes we be confused about right side and left side of some organ when we are discussing anatomically. Right now we come to the waves. How should I define the waves? You should help me. How should I define the waves? When the needle of the ECG machine, when the needle of the ECG machine goes, you suppose this is the needle of ECG machine, and when the needle of ECG machine goes up and down, they produce a picture. This picture is called wave. What is the wave? Due to deflection of the needle of the ECG machine over the ECG paper, they produces special pictures. This picture is called waves, which occur due to up and down of the needle of the ECG machine. Generally in the ECG we have got 6 waves, 3 segments. These 6 waves started from P wave, Q wave, R wave, S wave, T wave, and sometimes we also have got here small wave that is called U wave. Generally in ECG we have got 6 waves, especially P wave, Q wave, R wave, S wave, T wave, and U wave. The first wave is called P wave. The second wave is called Q wave. The third wave is called R wave. The fourth wave is called S wave. And the fifth one is called T wave. And the last one is called U wave. Remember, all these letters are arbitrary letters. They don't stand for anything. Just they are arbitrary English alphabet letter. This was about the P wave. P P wave, Q wave. So this was about the one cardiac cycle. One cardiac cycle is made from 6 waves, 2 segments. Especially the first segment is called PR segment, and the another segment is called DC segments, and another segment which is called TP segment. This is TP segment. This is TP segment. So one cardiac cycle includes of 6 waves, 3 segments, and another 3 intervals, even 4 intervals. One is PR interval, from the beginning of the P wave to the onset of the R wave is called PR interval, and from beginning of the Q wave to the end of the T wave is called QT interval, and another one QRS or QRS interval. So right now again we have understood about the wave. What is the wave? Due to deflection of the needle over ECG paper, yes, they produce a special picture. This picture is called wave. The first wave which is produced by the ECG is called P wave. Right now this is the signing of the wave. The first wave is called P wave. Let's correlate this P wave with this electrical event. This electrical event, for example, this is atria. We have got 2 atria. This is the atria, and this is the ventricle. So, what is representing the P wave? P wave, when we correlate ECG event to electrical event, this P wave represents atrial depolarization. This P wave represents atrial depolarization. So, as I have mentioned so many times about the dual chamber concept. So, we have got 2 waves, 2 P wave. We should have got also here 2 P wave, but we have got single P wave. What is the reason?
Dual chamber.
Dual chamber. What is the dual chamber concept? Both atria are electrically connected to each other through the gate junction, or they have got electrical connection. Both of them are electrically activated at the same time. Simultaneous activation of both atria produces a single wave over the ECG paper. But after the P wave, we should have got atrial depolarization, but we didn't see here atrial depolarization. Why we didn't see atrial depolarization? Because of 2 reasons. At the same time, when atrial depolarization occurs, ventricular depolarization is also occurs. So the atrial depolarization is a slow movement, and that atrium is a small wave. Because atrial tissue is small, they produce a small wave and they supply by slow conduction. So the atrial depolarization is produced by slow conduction. While ventricular tissue is supplied by Purkinje fibers. Purkinje fibers is fast conduction, so this ventricle is contracted fastly, and the wave which is produced by this ventricular contraction, this ventricular capture the repolarization wave. So and therefore we see atrial depolarization, but we didn't see repolarization. The reason is being that both because of 2 things. One is slow repolarization of the atrium. Another is the atrial tissue is a small tissue. The repolarization wave is a small wave. So and therefore, when ventricular is electrically activated, this activation of the ventricle capture this repolarization. So we have got from atrial repolarization just single wave, which is called P wave. After the P wave, we have got PR segment. Let's go step by step. What is the segment? The segment is a portion of isoelectric line which intervene between 2 waves. Between 2 waves. One wave is called P wave and the second wave is called R wave. PR segment is the segment which occurs or which intervenes between 2 waves, especially between the end of the P wave and onset of the R wave. This is called segment. We have got how many segments? We have got 3 segments. This is number 1 is PR segment. PR segment. Another thing is T segments and TP segments. So we have got 3 segments. So what is representing the PR segment? PR segment represents AV nodal conduction. AV nodal conduction. This PR segment represents AV nodal conductions. You should not be confused about the PR interval. PR interval represents 2 things. One is atrial depolarization plus AV nodal conduction. But in PR segment just we see AV nodal conduction, but this AV node delays the electrical impulse. Why they delays the electrical impulse? Because they give a chance for both atria to contract both atria and they empty their blood into the ventricle. So this delay is a good delay because this is a physiological delay. So we have understood about the meaning of the segments. Right now we are discussing about the intervals. What does it mean interval? Wave plus segment is called interval. For example, this is P wave and this is segment. This is called PR interval. This is called PR interval. PR interval. Another interval, we have got QRS interval. This is called QRS interval. This is PR interval, QRS interval, PR interval. This is P and this is R. This is called PR and this is the QRS interval. QRS. So how should I define right now Q interval? A combination of segments or a combination of more than one wave together is also called interval. For example, this is a combination of PR segment, combination of one segments. But here in QRS complex, we have got three waves. So combination of wave plus segment or combination of the more than one wave together is called also QRS interval. Alright, now we come to the QT interval. QT interval. What does it mean, QT interval? Interval. This is start from the onset of the Q wave to the end of the T wave. This is called QT interval. Look, in this interval, as I mentioned, wave plus segments or more than one wave together is also called interval. Here we have got Q wave, R wave, S wave, and T wave. And we have got more than one wave. So this was about the QT interval. Now this is PR interval, QRS interval, and QT interval. QT interval. QT interval from the beginning of the PR segment, Q, R is T segment, and T and small wave U. So as I mentioned before, we have understood the definition of the waves. We have got how many waves we have got in ECG? 6 waves. The first one is P wave. What is representing the P wave? Atrial polarization. Why we have got single wave? Because both the three are electrically activated together. So and therefore what the ECG paper produces a single wave. Right now we will come back to we have mentioned about the segments. Right now we will discuss about the Q wave, the QRS complex. What is representing QRS complex? Ventricular depolarization. But it is made from three waves. The first one is called septal. Septal ventricular depolarization is represented in the ECG by the Q wave. By the Q wave. By the Q wave. What is representing Q wave? Septal ventricular depolarization. What is representing the R wave? The large wave of the ECG. This R wave represents major ventricular depolarization. It may be represented here. Major ventricular depolarization. The R wave. What representing the S wave? The S wave representing these basal parts. Basal part. So, how should I correlate ECG event to electrical event? This is electrical event to the ECG event. First, P wave. What is representing P wave? Atrial depolarization. What is representing the T wave? Septal ventricular depolarization. What is representing the R wave? Ventricular depolarization. What is representing the S wave? Basal ventricular depolarization. So this was about the QRS complex. After the QRS complex, we will move to T wave. What is representing T wave? Ventricular depolarization. After the T wave, we have got U wave. What is representing U wave? That the cause or the source of U wave is uncertain, but they say it represents ventricular Purkinje fiber repolarizations. This was about the U wave. Generally, the source or the causes of the U wave is not clear, but they suppose or they think it represents the Purkinje fiber repolarization. Or this was about the correlation of the ECG event to electrical events. ECG event and electrical event. This is the ECG event. And when atrium electrically activated, this electrical activation is called